you doing? How you doing? What's Up Rhody was created as a safe space for the 12 million strong live entertainment and theatrical professionals. Peace and welcome everyone to What's Up Rhody? How you doing? I am Noelle Jordan, creator and executive producer for What's Up Rhody. In my career, I am a live event and touring lighting designer, stage manager, and backline technician. What's Up Rhody was created as a safe space for the million strong live entertainment and theatrical professionals. This season, we are focused on equity for entertainers, musicians, techs, and digital content. Today, we are joined by an amazing panel for our discussion on digital content organizations. As well, we also have our live entertainment mental health professional. I encourage everyone to engage here in the live chat on the What's Up Rhody, How You Doing Facebook Live page. And today, like I said, we're going to continue talking about equity in the industry or the lack thereof. Our moderator for today is Khadijah Nimrod. Hey, Khadijah, how's it going?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good.
Awesome. So my name is Khadijah Nimrod. I am the founder and chief experience curator of the Superior Collective. It is a bi-coastal special event planning company based in Los Angeles, California, as well as in New York City. I'm so thankful to be here. Thanks again, Noelle, for having me. I want to kick it off and get started with introducing our amazing panelists. So first off, we have Simona Wright. She is the co-founder of District Motherhued. It's a premier nonprofit organization for millennial mothers of color based out in DC, my second hood. So welcome to Simona. We also have Malone, who is the CEO of Tunnel Vision Creative Agency. Welcome, James. Pleasure to have you here.
Peace.
We also have Danielle Flower, who is the brand photographer for women-owned businesses and brands, helping women show up the right way their brand. She's the owner at Amber Iris Photo and is a wife and mom of 2 boys and 2 bonus. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
And we also have Kier Gaines, who is with Live Entertainment mental health professional. He's a therapist as well as a content creator. So we have some really, really dope people, really great lineup here. And so today, like as Noelle said, we're going to be talking about equity. And I'll just kind of go into the definition of that. It's defined as the state, quality, or ideal of being just, impartial, and fair. So let's get into this conversation. I have a few questions that I'd like to ask, and let's get into it.
All right, I'm ready.
Let's get it started.
Love it. Okay. So, big question. What does equity mean to you as it relates to your organization and business in the digital space? So we kind of just talked about the definition of equity, but what does it mean to you on a personal level regarding your business in the digital space? And we can kick it off to anybody. Like anybody can jump in and warm up the hot seat.
Okay.
I'll start. Go ahead, James.
No, ladies first, please.
Like when I thought about that, like I just thought about like the statement, like I really am passionate about going where I'm celebrated and not where I'm tolerated. And really, really also creating spaces for other people to feel as a Black woman, creating more spaces for Black women-owned businesses where they feel comfortable being themselves, not needing to code switch, but creating more of what I want to see. Where I'm not represented. I want to create that space for other women, but also, like, using my skills to help other Black women-owned businesses show up professionally so they can attract the right people and opportunities to their brands. But I also want us to be seen and represented as our best. So that's what equity means to me in my business.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Danielle, and I agree with you too. I think for me, Tunnel Vision started out as an agency representing Black photographers. We realized that there were a lot of jobs that were not accessible without having an agency back behind you. On a personal, on like a brand to brand level, you can go out and get that contract. But sometimes when you're dealing with large brands, they have a middleman who's an agent who has these contracts in house, and they go out and find the work. And then as a photographer myself, I was realizing that the larger contracts we didn't have access to, and we kept getting hit with the same statement: you need to diversify your portfolio, which was like white code for you don't have white, we don't see you catering to white people. And so we decided to start an agency that represented us. And so for me, when I think about equity, it looks like the power to choose and the power to have choice to decline or accept the contract based off the quality of your work, and not based off what somebody is perceiving you lacking or not. So yeah, I think equity is like, I think at the end of the day, it's really us owning our own systems. I think about all the amazing photographers like Danielle Flowers, and how many more people can be connected to like contracts and works that they really want to be a part of, but there's an agency system that's missing that honors the creation of our own minds and our own spirits. So yeah, I think it's about owning the systems. I think it's about distributing our own artwork. I think it's about finding our own audiences and leaving old models behind and being like, yo, you never rode for us. You never been supportive of us. So in that, we're gonna create our own and move forward, period,
Oh man, preach.
Yeah.
I feel that in my soul.
Yeah. I be feeling it too. So I'll be over here working. I'm like, I gotta work. Gotta get it out.
Yes. Because I just feel like in the photography space, and I don't want to take away from anybody else, but I just really felt what James said. It's just like, I feel like they kind of like, this is what you're worth, or this is the only job that you can take. Or I've had people reach out to me and tell me like, oh, this is only what we have for this job. And I'm like, I know you're not paying my counterparts what you're trying to pay me. So I'll decline, and you have to walk away from things that don't serve you, and not just be about the money, be about like more about, no, I'm not gonna, like, 'cause if I take that job, they feel like they can do that to somebody else who looks like me. So in that way, I want to represent us in that way. It's like, no, you're not going to say in perpetuity, I can own all your photos, and I don't know what that means. And so I'm gonna let you know that, no, you're not gonna put this jargon in here and try to slide me a contract, and I'm not gonna read it. So being like very, very knowledgeable in that way, and passing that knowledge on to other people as well.
100%.
Yeah, to build off of James' point, I'm glad I'm not on mute. So my business is a little different, but James kind of hit on some of the points. So mainly what I do on my page, outside of just making the public aware of therapy and what therapy does, and just putting it in packages that are a little better to understand than someone lecturing at you, is I do digital media marketing. So brands will approach me like, hey, we have this new product that we want you to produce, we want you to promote, but we want you to use your own voice, and we want you to use your best practice is how you connect with the audience, which is a far cry from the way these relationships worked about 3 years ago. So in my field, is actually in representation, because when you see people who get brand deals, and the entire world is made for like men. Like the world is made for men, and women always get the short end of the stick. This is a very small corner of the world that's actually been dominated. There are very few male influencers that promote brands and products that
That's true.
everybody would like to be a part of. Yeah, like a diaper brand will hit me and say, "Hey, Mrs. Gaines," they'll automatically assume that I'm a woman influencer, and it happens all the time. So in my space, equity is in a representation. Like, hey, I'm a Black father. I like robes. I like
Yeah.
coffee. I like these at home pictures where I'm laughing with a monkey in my robe, like some of the moms do, because that's a representation of what fathers do as well. And the equity piece is in getting the brands to understand that Black men also participate in these domestic experiences, and Black men also aren't just like obligatory parents. Like, we love our kids and want cool accessories. Black men also need help with services like therapy and services like building community and things of that nature. So trying to get the brands to understand that and put it in a nice box that other Black men can look at and identify and be like, man, that looks like something I like to participate in. Has really been an uphill climb. It's hard out here.
Thank you for representing the Black fathers out here, Kier.
I pretty much I agree
Yeah.
with what everyone is saying. You know, I feel like everyone has done a great job with defining what equity is with District Motherhued, with it being solely focused on millennial moms of color, especially in a city we're watching gentrification happen right before us. But prior to even gentrification, it seems like white moms were enjoying this city more than Black moms were, because of simply because of also where they live, and where you live gives you daily access to certain things that, you know, we all deserve and we all want. So if you can't afford to live in the Georgetowns of the world, or the U Street areas of the Capitol Hills, and you can like take your kids to the park. Sometimes there's listservs and information that we're missing solely because we don't live in these spaces. So it's almost like a new age motherhood redlining, essentially, for those of us who are living in Southeast DC or Maryland and are not being included in that. So with District Motherhued, we exist to redefine the messages and put Black moms at the forefront in a city that's known for Black professionals. We have so many conversations where like, hey, when you go to September comes around, we want to go to CBC because there's all these like Black politicals and Black professionals, but there's also a lot of Black mothers and Black families who are also making that experience very exciting. So the whole purpose of us is to make sure that we connect with each other and we have equal access to the daily things that are normal for white families in the city. We want to make sure that it's normal for us too. And how we do that is by using our voice and making sure that we're sharing our resources and information with each other at a faster pace than it would be had we not been connected to each other as millennial moms. But also to highlight the fact that not all, even though we're a group for Black moms, there's also a divide between professional and educated Black moms, and a lot of Black moms who probably don't even relate to District Motherhued. So part of that is to make sure that we're not just pushing for ourselves, those who can afford the brunches and afford the galas, but also making motherhood a better experience for our Black moms who are living in low-income neighborhoods, some parts of Southeast, who don't even have the pleasure of thinking about brunch because they're just thinking to survive. So that's what District Motherhued is here for, and to make sure that it's an equal playground for moms.
Okay, I love that you said equal access.
I've heard you break it down like that. That's actually pretty brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
I love the equal access. I love the equal playground. It reminds me every time I hear the word equity. I don't know if any of y'all have seen this image before, but it's the one that like floats around Instagram or on Google, and it's like an older man, a child, and like another person, and one is like really short, another one is like middle size, and the other one is like tall, and they're trying to stand over to see, I guess it's like a game or something. And only the one who's tall enough can afford or has the opportunity rather to watch what everyone else is watching. And so equality, right, is giving everyone a platform to stand on so that they can see over the gate. But equity is making sure that you are addressing the specific needs of the people who need who aren't afforded the opportunities as whoever they consider the standard to be, right? And so if you look at the picture again, equality is the taller person doesn't need a platform to stand on or some type of surface to stand on. The person who's a little bit shorter, they need something that's within a height range to be able to see over the gate. And the child needs a bigger platform because they are not as tall as the other two people. And so when you think about equality, it's giving everyone the access that they need in order to meet that standard that society calls as a standard. And so I love that you said equal access and equal platforms, equal opportunity. Even just as myself, as a Black woman in Los Angeles, having my own event planning company, it's like I can count on my one hand how many other Black women professionals are thriving in this industry, are out here, who I can reach out to for support or from, any of those things. And so there is this organization that I was a part of, will not even name it, but they recently reached out about me doing a Black History Month feature for my event planning company. And I had been in this organization for about a year now. It's a paid membership. You supposedly get to network with other event professionals, and you get to have, client facing opportunities. So, at the beginning, I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. I had only been in LA for a year. So I'm like, okay, let's join this membership. And it was a really pricey membership. And obviously, I was like, okay, new business owner here, but you know what, I'm going to do it if everyone is saying that this is the thing to do. And I just remember I joined it a year ago, and they were supposed to offer me these features every month or every quarter, and I was supposed to be, highlighted and spotlighted on their website and just all these things that they promised. And I just remember month to month looking like, where's my feature? Where's my spotlight? Where's my this? Where's my that? And then the year membership is coming up, and before I email them to say, I would like to show my intention to no longer be a part of this membership, Black History Month just so happens to pop around, and they're like, oh, we want to feature you for Black History Month. And it's like the other opportunities where you had to feature me with everyone else, with all of my white counterparts, but now Black History Month rolls around, and here we are. So just to echo all of your sentiments, it happens to all of us in some capacity, unfortunately. And I think that's why it's so important where we do build our spaces and places where we can, teach others and spotlight ourselves and highlight, people within our community. But unfortunately, we shouldn't even have to do that. We should not have to create our own places and spaces. So totally.
Because we want to be represented 365, not just February, okay? The shortest month of the year.
Exactly.
Because I'm Black 365, and what I had to bring to the table 5-6 months ago is the same thing I have to bring to the table now.
Exactly.
That is Black History Month. I could have brought that to you a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Respect. And it's like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I apologize, Khadijah. Okay. And I think it's so many beautiful points were touched. Simone, you said something that was I think is main key to us never having to have this conversation again, maybe 15, 20 years out. You said there's a divide between the working class Black person and the professional Black person, and then we can even go deeper and go back to the hood Black person, I think that divide is where Khadijah, when you talked about the box that people have to stand on to be at an equal height, I think for Black folks, that is truly our box to stand on, is to say, okay, we have folks who express at the deepest expression of Blackness, which we may call hood, you know what I mean? And then we have you have your your Black professional who has matriculated into the mainstream system and is taking resource and bringing it back. You know, and then you have your working class who, you know, maybe has like hard labor skills. I think when we all come together, that's the box that allows us to never have to ask anybody again for another handout, you know? And like you guys all alluded to, it comes with having our own platforms so that we never have to go to a person again who doesn't appreciate us to say, can you give me a feature? You know what I mean? Or can you know, help me with this business loan? But it's like, y'all ain't been rocking with us for X amount of years. I know this is a very short window, but so I'm really glad we're all here and having this discussion that is also in part talking about having our own platforms so we can employ each other, you know? So, yeah.
And that's so true. And I mean, we kind of have to keep going with the flow, but it's just so much to unpack here that's like, we can stay on this topic all day. But even what you mentioned about, you know, I'm from Brooklyn and I have friends who grew up in the hood just like me. And, you know, I was able to matriculate into a university and grad school and live the life that I'm living now. But I still have friends who are like, how did you do it? How can I get out the hood? Or what are the resources and opportunities that you were afforded? And I'm like, you know, it's so unfortunate in so many different ways. And that's a whole nother conversation. So maybe we have to do a part 2 to this. And
it might just end up being a through line for this conversation. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about equity. I'm like, shit, what we really talking about? We talking about us building ourselves up. You know what I mean? So that's what we talking about. That gotta be the undercurrent to the convo. You know what I mean? But we can have let's go through the questions though. But I feel you.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Miss Rona, Miss good old Rona that everybody unfortunately been affected by. So this pandemic, it's crazy because a month from now will make it 1 year since we've been.
Dang, that's crazy.
Rona has been lingering around, but I want to talk a little bit about the pandemic and its effects on your business. So we can talk all day about how it's affected, but what does your pivot look like? You know, they always say pivot or perish. So you're all standing here, which I can imagine that you found some way to pivot and not perish. But what does that look like? What did your pivot look like? How did you overcome, or what are the steps that you took to kind of, you know, move through this pandemic and allow your business to become successful in the ways that it has?
Well, I can go. I mean, with our organization, you know, motherhood is not necessarily even like a business, you know, it's like an all-day survival thing. So it was essentially enhancing a lot of our needs. The reason, and also identifying like why we would need to pivot and why we exist in the first place. So in order to even, we had in-person events for the moms to play, for play dates to happen. We had a conference, but because the need didn't change, it actually became very dire because we're a pandemic and we're getting more crazy being at home with our children. It looked like finding ways to consistently check in on each other. Our conference pivoted to a virtual conference, which was fantastic, and it allowed us to invite other moms from the country, from all over the country, instead of just moms in the DMV. We did a lot of, we're highly, you know, Black people love to laugh, so we always like really utilize our social media platforms by poking a lot of fun just to bring relief for what's happening throughout the past year. And then we also did a lot of virtual events. So whether it's virtual events tackling postpartum depression for our moms, we did a lot of IG lives, inviting doctors to talk about what it's like to be pregnant in a pandemic. So essentially like identifying what is the everyday need of a mother, and then what's the everyday need of a Black mother in a pandemic, and then understanding that that's an important need to fulfill regardless with the pandemic or not, and making sure like how can we still get that information so that we're all surviving and also not losing people. So it was essential to pivot, and for us, thankfully, virtual worked. And now that and with moms, we believe in pod lives, right? Like we kind of connect people based on where they live. If you're comfortable, here's a local park. You can go hang out at this playground, or you can do a pod teacher. Here's a bit, like finding what we need quickly, pulling the resources so that everyone can see each other virtually or in person in a safe way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a cool pivot, man. That's a cool pivot. I think the part where I was pinging me the most was saying how you were able to expand your network outside of the DMV because of the digital space. And that's like, that's super key. That's super key.
And I was wondering when she said that, like, in the future, do you guys plan, well, I don't know if I have the right to ask this, but like, has that thought changed the way you think about maybe in the future how, like, the mom friends and things of that nature will be because of that, access other people were able to have? It just makes me think about like how that can be now made available some way to them in the future.
We definitely plan on still doing mom friends in a digital way, but also I think even prior to that, just knowing that a lot of Black moms all over need the support. Probably we plan to support moms in those cities who already have a platform. The problem is not necessarily District Motherhued not existing in other places, is that they're not aware of the moms who are existing in those places. So if we can highlight those momfluencers or moms who are having a big organization is appealing, but it's no more impactful as someone who's been doing this for years, even in a small capacity. So driving and honing in on that messaging, like you're seeing this grand group of women in DC, just like you would see Black people gallivanting for brunch in DC, and it makes you want to move here. That's the appeal of it. But the work of it is still very much true and happening in your city. And it actually grows the more you guys get together. So kind of honing in on that messaging, partnering with other organizations. We call them our allies. And I'm not talking about white people allies, but the other Black organizations in these cities, and, pushing them there. Like, come on, that's your mom tribe, build it here. But you can always come to Mom Friends virtually every year, because it worked so well last year.
It did. The pivot was strong.
It definitely did. That thing was amazing.
And I could imagine it opened up your your economic circle too. You know what I mean? Thinking about being able to tap into money at literally any place in the world at this point.
Exactly.
I'm going to ask another question. This will actually be our final question for the sake of time. But how does it make you feel knowing that it was meant for you to find and fill the voids in your respective communities? And how does this portion affect your mental health and confidence in your abilities? That's a loaded question. So can we repeat it, or you guys got it?
Yeah, you can repeat that for me, please.
So how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel knowing that it was meant for you to find and fill the voids in your respective communities? And then the sub-question is, how does this affect your mental health and confidence in your own abilities?
It feels so
Go ahead.
No, I think it feels so good to know that like God has me right where I need to be, making the impact right where I need to make it. And I always say that God is going to open the doors that I need to walk through, and he's going to close the ones that he doesn't think I need to walk through. So it just feels so good that I'm making an impact where I can, where I am, and I'm doing my part. But also by showing up as being who I am and making an impact, I hope it inspires other people to maybe dig deeper and find out where they can make their impact. Like how Noelle has created this platform for people in her industry, and everybody on this panel, I feel like is just like people who have done their part. And I feel like we are very, very much responsible for first and foremost how we show up, in hopes that it will inspire people to show up, and really, really dig deep into and think about what can I bring to the table? How can I impact my community and things of that nature? And I hope just by being who I am, I inspire somebody else to, dig deep and find out how they can make their own impact.
Yeah, Danielle hit the nail on the head. I feel the
Yes, you
exact
did.
same way, especially working in the therapeutic space, and working in the mental health space. I always say that this space, to answer the question, is the intersection of what you're good at and what you genuinely enjoy doing. Um,
Mm.
and that's the truth, because the work doesn't change. You think that you work for yourself and it's going to be easier, and that is not true. You think that you'll work for yourself and it's going to be less
Uh,
stressful and less busy, and that is most certainly not true. I just left my 9 to 5 a month ago, and I can tell you, I think I work harder now that I work for myself. The
yep.
difference is it's
Yeah.
very gratifying and satisfying to see the results and the fruits of your labor. You kindle other ideas in people, you kindle hope and inspiration in people. And in those moments, as all of us experience as business owners and as creators of some sort, when we feel low and we don't feel like we're really, we don't feel like we're worth our salt, getting those responses and that feedback just gives us more of a receipt as to, to solidify the fact that what we're putting out is definitely making an impact. It was amazing. It makes me want to continue to work. It makes me want to push forward.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think,
think for me, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, it makes me feel highly supported, knowing that I'm walking in my alignment. I think when you know you're walking in your alignment with the vision that you had before you came to this earth, I fully understand and know that it was a conscious decision for all of us to come here, even if we don't remember it. So when we came to this earth and we decided and we agreed with God, this is our assignment. And then to walk, and then we walking at an assignment, it lets you know you got the support of God, you know what I mean? And then when you have that support, it's literally every single thing in your environment is also aiding you in that, opposed to you like not walking in your purpose and then everything is kind of moving against you, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel supported in it. I feel divinely empowered by it. I feel hella expanded, like mentally, knowing that like in this particular realm of like existence and the way that I'm creating support and solution for people, that like any idea that comes to my mind can be accomplished. And that just feels like magic. You feel like the magician. You like, damn, I did that. Like,
I could
that's
create
crazy.
it. I could create it. I could think about
I
it
could
and I
create
could
that.
create it and make it reality.
Yeah, make
That's when you
reality
start feeling like an
Reality,
alchemist,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, straight like that. Straight like that. You should be like, damn, like I could turn rock into gold. Like I could turn metal into gold. Like, and I think that's the true impact we're all making on people in our circles, you know? And Simone, to keep going back to what you said earlier, I think that is, even Khadijah, you talking about Brooklyn and some of the homies who still may be in certain situations, they look at you like, how'd you make it? It's like, I think when they see us, they see like, you turn metal into gold, how'd you do it, you know? And for us to be able to step back and say, I tapped into my divine purpose, like, and you could do the same thing. Literally, it may not look like my steps because that's your journey, you know, but you could equally have far beyond the success I have, because I don't know what's in your plan, you know what I mean? But that means you understand that you are literally a creative and you can create whatever the F you want to, as long as you don't rely, and yeah, we could go on for days about that, but yeah.
I feel the same way. I think, like with all of us, we're in different places and doing different things. And, Black motherhood is just such a thing. And I think when we, after we get off this call and you take a moment again, I'm sure we all have, and think about how like connected it is to one moment where we weren't in this space and another moment where we currently are, it's just like, wow, who would have thought that I, of all people, would be doing this, right? Because I still remember the day I found out I was pregnant with my first son. So that person doesn't, look like the person that would be, I was trying to figure out for myself, like, what does this mean? Where's life gonna go? And then now I'm the person who's actually leading moms to like all their answers and connecting them. So it's almost like affirming to know like, oh no, it was meant for me to be in this space and it was meant for it to happen in that way. specifically in that way, because if it didn't happen in that way, I may not be as compassionate to other people that it did happen in that way for. So it just feels good. Like every single moment feels good. I am a Black girl champion, so that is just my thing, and especially because you know, I mean, maybe you don't know, but even with Black mothers in the space of their maternal health, not just with advocating to white people, but also talking about what our own insecurities regarding that is. I was just having a conversation with another mom, and we had to be honest with ourselves about how sometimes by default we don't speak up, and it's almost like a chicken and egg. It's like they're not listening, but we also don't say anything. Like there are times when we're in those delivery rooms or we're in those spaces, not even just for maternal health, but we're in those spaces at school, and you try to advocate and there's a little bit of pushback, because there's always going to be pushback to Black people by default. Like you just see that all the time. It's almost like there's this fear of pushing back against white mothers or white people. They say something and it's just like, okay. And then we say something and it's just kind of like it's not intentional, but it's just kind of inherent in us. Like, no, we don't offer that service here. And if you try to push back, it's like, whoa, you know? So that makes us insecure sometimes, and we have to be honest with that. There's layers to that about, okay, maybe you're right, my son doesn't need that, so I'm gonna walk away. Whereas you see somebody else who's just like, no, my child doesn't need that in school. And then so there's a difference. I think that I know for my space is like advocating for the proper, the brands and the companies and the schools and the jobs to understand the Black mother's language and what our children need, but also turning around and educating each other and encouraging each other. Like, hey, we talk to them, but you got to do your part too. Let's pull back the layers, like what's going on with us, what is our own traumas. So that's ongoing work. That's difficult work to do, especially, and that affects your mental, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm already dealing with my own stuff. So to be able to be exposed to this many mothers who go through so many things, like different birth journeys, it's a heavy load to carry, right? So, and I think all of us in our individual circles can say that, like, it's so heavy. Like even Kier being this person who like has, you know, God has opened up this door, and it's like, yeah, you're doing what you love, but it's literally changing some people's lives, because people are coming from different places. They've never seen someone like this before, you know? And it's like, wow, what weight, you know, to carry like on your shoulders, right? Or even you, Danielle, like taking pictures, and for you, you're just like, oh, this feels good, like this is my talent, I'm taking pictures, I'm putting things together. But for another person, it's like, I hate being in front of the camera, but I love how Danielle makes me feel seen. So it's kind of like these are heavy loads, you know, that we're carrying. So it's a blessing to carry that, because we're carrying it well. And I think that in itself makes me feel like, okay, like I can do this, and I'm glad that I was chosen to, and it makes me feel special to continue to do the work through District Motherhued and everything that we have going, coming for us.
Yeah, but also something that stood out to me, Simona, is like you were saying, like when we're standing up for ourselves, I feel like sometimes it's always that angry Black woman thing that's clouded over our heads. And it's like, no, I need to stand firm in what I need to say. And it's not that I'm angry, it's that I'm passionate about what
exactly.
And being so strong in your belief that, no, I'm not gonna let your rhetoric and your pushback make me stand down for what I believe in. And I'm gonna be firm in this, and just being like practicing like with like even working in the medical industry, a doctor, like someone was attacking me, and I was firm and passionate about what this person was saying to me. And she was like, Danielle, why are you so angry? And I said, I'm not angry. She was like, yes, you are. I said, I am not angry. I know what I am. Can you please stop calling me angry? I am passionate. And that's like using your voice in a way to make them be like, oh, wait a minute. And how to like, but it's kind of unfortunate that when we use our passions, is that we have to defend our passions in that way. But when they say something, it just stands alone. Right. So, but it's just, you know, it's tough
Girl,
work.
you see the way you just sighed? Ain't it heavy? It's just kind of like, it's tiring, right? And that was just 5 seconds of saying that. Can you imagine like the everyday trying to just be like, phew, you know, like being a Black mom is one thing, being a mom is one thing. Being a Black mom is like, and then there's an additional layer of stress. And then I'm scared to, you know, so anyway, I say all that to say like voice matters and to be in a space that we can push those voices out because it's a matter of life or death. It doesn't seem like it, but it actually is in everything that all of our roles, like it actually is. And even you, Khadijah, you know, I would definitely, push back, you know, on the fact that like they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And that's not your response. That's their lack of follow through, you know. So matter of fact, you're disappointed that they didn't do that, right? Like they didn't live up to like what they claim, which means they're not people that know how to run an organization. So I think even turning that sort of language on them, where it's like, I'm not impressed with you all, whether white or Black, then I want to leave and I actually want my money back. But I also want to leave because you didn't do all this, you know?
And I don't want to
I hope you don't stay just because they're highlighting you for Black History Month. I hope you leave.
I sent that email and we're no longer in membership.
Okay, good.
But even what you mentioned earlier, like it's a blessing. I think I like to call it like the burden of the blessing, right? Like God has given us this blessing.
The burden of the blessing.
But we have a burden to carry with that, you know, like no blessing is easy. If it's in your purpose, if it's in your calling, you know, it's not going to come easy. And so that is taxing on our mental health. It does weigh on our confidence and our abilities because we're like, wow, we're so thankful for this blessing, but it's so burdensome at times. It's a heavy load. It's a heavy weight to carry. And sometimes we're like, am I even qualified to carry this? Am I even fit to do this? Am I strong enough? And so even like what James said, like we have to tap in and be like, you know, God, I thank you for this blessing and really hone in on why we're supposed to be here and know that he's placed us here for a reason to accomplish these things. And it's not meant to be done in our own strength. That's why it may seem burdensome and heavy, but that's why we have God, we have community, we have people who love us and care about us and other people that we can go to for that support and support other people likewise. So it's the burden of the blessing, but nonetheless, it is still a blessing. And so, you know, really that we're all able to be in this space, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of all the things that are going on, we are still working and we are still standing. And I think that's the beauty of the blessing, regardless of the burden, right?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to answer the question too. Simone took us down such a beautiful path that like we just dove into the path, and I'm glad we did. But I think the question was, how do we pivot during this time? Of Rona, and I think the question had me doing an interesting reflection, right? Because I think this also talks to walking in your divine alignment, right? Because Tunnel Vision, we've been representing particularly Black artists since 2013. In a time where I will walk into business meetings, I'll walk into our own community, people like, yo, why are you focused on Black artists? Like the world's more diverse than that. Like, you don't think you need to broaden your language up, or you need to be more generic with your description about who you represent? And I'm like, no, I'm representing Black artists, period. Like, we're gonna move forward. Here's our value. And I've always been explicit in that. So, and think about the pandemic, and think about 2018 to 2020, now where Black creatives are the gold standard in a mainstream way. Before, we always been influenced in the flow, and we always been the current, but now it's like we need Black creatives everywhere. So I didn't necessarily have to pivot in this point in time. There were some structural things we had to do, like become more digital when we were doing physical experiences. But I think us standing our ground for so long, 8 years, been like, yo, we're creatives. And then the world caught up, and now the business has just been really taking off as the world caught up. So I'm really glad that I didn't change my language around to say, oh, we represent artists of color. I'll say that in my language. It's like we represent Black creators, Black artists. And for us to stand on that same for so long has positioned us immaculately in this point in time, you know. So just want to throw that out there.
And that's why it's so important to just be true to who you are, and you know, like don't shift, don't get shaky when it comes to like you said, like speaking the right language in regards to your business and the purpose of your business. And as you continue to walk in your purpose, the world will catch up. Everyone else will be there and support you. They'll be there, and that's all that matters. And all you have is all you need, right?
You
That is all you need.
Yeah.
So I know we have to wrap. It's been such an amazing time talking with you guys. It's been such a much needed conversation to have, and we needed to have this for so long. And the conversation doesn't end here, absolutely not. But before we wrap, I just want to ask you all to drop your Instagram handles. Where can people find you in the digital space, whether it's your website or your Instagram or social media handles? For those who are watching after this, how can they find you?
Okay, you can find my company Tunnel Vision Creative Agency at Tunnel Vision Artist, and that's plural, artist plural. And then I think you guys may be able to see my name at the bottom of my screen, and my personal Instagram is in there too, JD Malone 33. So Tunnel Vision Artist is where you can find a bunch of dope content. Right now we're doing a series called Into Me I See, which is a play off of intimacy. So looking into yourself, where we're spotlighting empowered or liberated Black artists as a way to empower other people. So we've been doing artist spotlights for the last month, and we'll continue that series for the next year. But you could catch it there.
That's dope. That's dope.
Danielle, where can we find
you can catch me.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's the Zoom.
Right?
That's the Zoom swag. Yeah. So you can find my page on Instagram. It's Kier, Kier, and them. Kier and them being my family. We too have a lot of great content on the page, family content, personal development, mental health. I just started a new series called The Breakdown, where I take popular 90s shows and I add social and mental health context to it. So taking these complicated clinical mental health thoughts and theories and ideas and breaking it down really simply for everybody and easily digestible pieces. So Kier and them, you will absolutely love the page. I think we had 275,000 right now.
Yeah, you are.
274,000. So come join the community. Yeah, come join. Be glad to have you.
All right, you can find me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danielle. No, you go.
You can find me, Danielle Flowers, on Amber Iris Photo. Check out my website at ambeirisphoto.com. What I've been working on lately is, kind of sort of a pivot, because at the beginning of last year, I started this group community of women entrepreneurs coming together to create content and also build the foundation of their businesses. So now that I can't do that in a group setting, I've been pivoting to kind of not only, doing photography, but also encouraging women-owned businesses to make their, how they look match their messaging, so they show up the right way. And so you're not just looking good on Instagram, but your messaging and how you show up in business all match, so you can really, really grow, flourish, and be impactful.
Love it. I actually just followed you all on Instagram, so follow your girl back.
All right.
But thank you all again so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, Simona.
Kick it back.
I have to go. Khadijah didn't go. They kind of fought me. What Kier said.
So sorry.
That's the Zoom way. Okay?
That's that Black woman fighting. That Black woman fighting.
I am so sorry.
My turn. I'm just kidding. No, you guys can find me on districtmotherhued.com. So it's HUED, like the play on the color. So District Motherhued. On Instagram, the website is districtmotherhued.com. So that's where you can find. And then you can find me on my personal page. You can just search Simona Noche.
Love it. Awesome. And for anyone who's interested in mine, it's the Superior Collective. And of course, we can exchange information after this. But Noelle, I'm going to kick it back to you for our closing.
Right. Everyone, I want to thank you guys so much for your time and insight, as well to all of you who are watching. I want you guys to remember to stay safe and warm, depending on where you are in the country and the world. We will see you back here next week, where we will be closing out season 2. It is week 8. We will be closing out season 2. Our final discussion will be on television, film, and theater people of color. I want everyone to be sure to follow the What's Up Brody, How You Doing Facebook page and our Instagram page and YouTube. They are both What's Up Brody. You can follow us for up-to-date information on future discussions. And for our Clubhouse members, we will be having our weekly Clubhouse room for roadies. Everyone is invited. We usually have that. It's official on Wednesdays at 8. It's our recap for this episode. So of course, if you all are on Clubhouse, definitely I encourage you to come Wednesday night and really just engage with the audience, because we do have people that talk about the episodes, maybe have questions. I know that we mainly focus with roadies in television and live concerts and events, but I really want the digital space to have just as much visibility within these conversations.
Agreed.
So yeah, so on Clubhouse, it's our official What's Up Roadie room. You can follow us on the platform for more information. What's Up Roadie? And again, Khadijah, Danielle, Kier, James, and Simona, I thank you guys and I appreciate you. And peace, everyone.
Peace.
Thank you.